Hey y'all, how's it going? It's Arm McQueen slash Hospitality Queens here, Nikki Positive Pinky. So happy Wednesday. I meant to do covers last night for Promo Tuesday, but I was so run down. Like, I did not feel well at all. Like, I had been up since like dead ass like 2 in the morning, and it felt like the longest day, like for real. Like, it was tripping. Um, so yeah, you know, yeah. So this is my way of making it up to y'all. Cause yeah, yesterday I had worse sinus headache. Like it was so bad. Like, I went right to sleep after, I basically like once I finished I did end up getting off a little bit earlier because it was so slow. But today was more steady, so today I worked through the whole shift, so that's what's up. But yeah, yesterday I just, I did rest after work, and so yeah, it was a pretty uneventful, well, not super uneventful, but got myself some journals, rewarded myself for my hard work, so ended up making a pizza in honor of Flip, and I think I might do the same, like either at some point. Well, I just did it yesterday, but I just can't help myself. But tomorrow is technically what would have been his birthday, so I might do that tomorrow, maybe for lunch or dinner. I don't know, figuring it out. Um, but yeah, it hit me hard yesterday, about his death. It's like always the first year is the hardest. But I'm definitely in a better place with it than I was last year. It takes time. I mean, like, I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, it's easier for you to move on because you weren't with him that long." It's like that's not even the point here. Like, but can we normalize how people have been away? Like, they have been just so bitchy. People, like, they just be so bitchy for no reason. It's like there's no reason, you know. Yeah, there's really no reason for that. It's like honestly, like But sometimes when people be being away like that, you just gotta like give them space and just like not talk to them. Because sometimes it's just needed. Sometimes we just don't want to deal with people. Yeah, I know, like, I kind of understand when people don't want to talk after work because I don't really either. I mean, if I interact with you after work, that means you're pretty damn important because I don't do that to just any kind of person. um and if I'm vulnerable with y'all or with anyone, like if I'm vulnerable with anyone and I tell them stuff about my personal life, that means you're pretty damn important to me. If I'm updating you about what's going on, that means you matter to me, like for real. Okay, I forgot this one died. See, I suck at charging these. I need to charge them more often. It's like, damn. But that's why I got three of them. Like, for real. Like, so, but another thing we need to normalize is checking the fuck in. Like, it's really sexy when someone checks in, like, especially when a black dude checks in with me. Like, they just have this charm about them. Like, when the black dudes check in with me, like, that just turns me on. Like, I love that. Like, when they just check in with me and stuff, it's just such a good feeling, like, for real. But I got the today went much better. Yesterday was just kind of an off day. Like, things felt off, and of course, I'm not going to be on par if I have sinus headache, which sadly is like everyday thing. So I just have to manage it and I just have to accept it. But yeah, I haven't been feeling great lately. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm just trying to pull through, but I know it's valid because I'm chronically ill, and it's my everyday life. I mean, regardless of whether it's an infection or if it's just you know um, chronic sinusitis, and it affects my everyday life, and sometimes it even affects my work performance. So thankfully I can, like, get through it, and I can, like, function properly. I mean, just enough where I can, um but yeah, it makes a big difference when I get enough sleep. I mean, that has to be like the number one thing for me because yeah, like yeah, there was a few nights where I didn't sleep great, and I have been doing good with kicking the caffeine habit, but then I kind of went backwards and started to get back on that bad habit. So I'm trying to get back on track with it. But yeah, by the grace of God, I got 11 days sober, so I'm getting through sobriety one day at a time. Like, I'm just keeping one foot in front of the other, and God willing, on March 3rd, I'll have like 1 month. So, you know, I'm making progress one day at a time, like for real. But now people's energy be tripping, you know, I don't know. It's just like this distant energy. Like people just be running away from conflict and shit. And like, they got to realize they can't always do that. You know, I mean, yes, like, you know, I mean, I think it's just human nature that we need space from people. Sometimes we don't want to talk to people, and it's like nothing personal against them, but sometimes like when people be sending me the good morning, good night texts, I mean, sure, it's nice, but it's like, you know, and it's like, and that was one of the things I loved about being with Flip. He would send me the good morning and sweet dreams text. I mean, you know, any black dude, like when they do that, I'm cool with that. You know, I'm cool, you know, because black dudes know how to like check in. Let me tell you right now, they are masters at checking in. And the good morning, good night text. I mean, but if it's just someone who's not even like my significant other, it's kind of like, okay, why y'all doing that? Because it's like, really, but like even then there's a point where it gets a little too excessive, you know. I mean, you don't want nobody to acknowledge, you know, we're to the point where you get a resentment, you're like, why the fuck aren't they checking in, you know, what's their deal? But you also don't want it to be so excessive that it's like, okay, I can take care of myself, you know. So it's really about balance, you know what I mean. um but I don't know, we'll see. I kind of feeling a balance, but I'll try to do some upbeat ones too. um but yeah, you know, I'm really looking forward to my vacation in Naples in, yeah, not exactly a month. So looking forward to it because I can tell I'm burned out. Like I'm just ready. Like, you know, I'm gonna try to make it to the finish line, but man, you know, I work 6 straight days. You know, like, you know, I work just as hard as full time people. It's like, yeah. You know, but a job is a job no matter what. So it really doesn't matter how many hours you work, whether you work 12 or 55 or 70. Okay, let me stop. But no, I mean seriously, like, you know, I mean, like, yeah, even though like I technically, you know, it really, like, honestly, with hospitality and retail, like, you know, that's why I hate when people always like, how many hours a week do you work? Because honestly, it really fucking depends. Like, sometimes I'm working the equivalent to full time. You know, if it's really busy, I might be working up to like 36 or 40 hours sometimes, really, or sometimes above that. Like, a lot of times I'll work overtime, and hey, I don't mind doing that because, hey, you know, pays the bills, you know, pays stuff. So, hey, why the fuck not? But then there's other times where it may not be as much. Like if it's super slow, I may be lucky if I can get like 22 hours. But it really depends. But you know, I might start off with that much and then I might end up, you know, picking up shifts and being up to 30 hours at least, you know. And like, yeah, you know, I mean, everyone has to be grateful whether they work full time or part time, whatever, some shit like that. You know, like people need to stop letting their professions define them because you know what, like whether they work full time or part time is really neither here nor there. Because you know what, like people need to stop acting like they're superior and shit because they got to realize that, you know, yeah, you know, just because they're high and mighty and they're moved out before me doesn't mean they get to rub it in my face, you know, like seriously, like people gotta, you know, really grow up, you know. But anyway, let me not get into that because I could really make that a documentary, but I just don't have the capacity to do that because I'm just so done with people who, you know, and it's like yesterday, you know, I mean, yesterday was just a really sad day because I mean, it's not like, I mean, last year around Valentine's Day was also hard for me because, you know, it was right after Flip died. And, you know, I hate when people try to tell me how to grieve about it. See, that's another shit I hate, you know, and it's easy for people with significant others alive to say that, you know, because they just be rubbing it in my fucking face, you know, like, like I did this, you know, and granted, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for all the couples I saw going to dine in, you know, like while I'm at work. But then I'm thinking, you know what, like, how about be grateful that your significant other is not dead, you know, because I don't have that advantage. Like, you know, it's gonna be some time before I can like commit to that next significant other. You know, it may take a good time to heal from this because, you know, I that's why I hate when people are like, like, you know, like, oh, you didn't really get to know him or you only dated him for like a few months. And it's like people need to stop getting caught up on time. Like that's like me getting caught up on the time sobriety. Like when I like that first go around, I had almost 6 years. You know, so that's how I know I can achieve it again because, you know, I mean, it's just But you know what? Like, people need to stop letting certain things define them. But then again, I need to take my own advice on that because, sometimes I let my conditions, that I go through, whether mental slash physical, define me. And like, I tend to fixate on them. But, I wouldn't have to fixate if people would just fucking listen. It's like really repeating ourselves should be a last resort. It should not be an everyday thing where we feel like we have to like beat the dead horse just to get someone's attention. I mean, it's really ridiculous. It's just bullshit because it's like, but anyway, let me stop. Let me stop. But this is my way of making up to y'all that, I didn't feel well enough to do Promo Tuesday covers. But there was just no way. I mean, I don't even know how I made it through the day because I had been up since 2 a.m. and that was just a very foolish idea, never again, So I'm gonna do Incomplete by the Backstreet Boys because I'd be feeling that. I'd be feeling like, man, why Flip gotta be dead. Like, all right, here we go. Empty spaces fill me up with holes. Distant faces with no place left to go. Without you within me, I can't find no rest. Where I'm going is anybody's guess. I tried to go like I never knew you. I'm awake, but my world is half asleep. I pray for this heart to be unbroken, but without you all I'm going to be is incomplete. Voices tell me I should carry on, but I am swimming in an ocean all alone. Baby, my baby, it's written on your face. You still wonder if we made a big mistake. I tried to go on like I never knew you. I'm awake, but my world is half asleep. I pray for this heart to be unbroken. Without you, all I'm going to be is incomplete. I don't mean to drag it on, but I can't seem to let you go. I don't want to make you face this world alone. I want to let you go. I tried to go like I never knew you. I'm awake, but my world is half asleep. I pray for this heart to be unbroken. Without you, all I'm going to be is incomplete. So I promise y'all, be grateful. The people in your life are still